Well, welcome to the EagleEyes training for the placement of the electrodes. We're going to go through the placement of the electrodes and properly placing them and then removing them as well. So we're going to start off making sure that your student or kiddo is sitting straight forward with the equipment or the EagleEyes console back behind the student. Is what we're going to do is we like to clean and prep the face, and this is one of the most critical points that we have, is you have to clean the face in order to get all of the oil, the dirt. Life is dirty and it kind of rests on our face, so we need to be able to sanitize and clean that face so that the electrodes will stick securely to the face, because remember, we're capturing that EOG or the electrical output from the eye, and those electrodes need to be tight against the skin in order to allow that to happen. So EagleEyes is a 3 alcohol swab job. So we use 3 alcohol swabs. The first one is to go ahead and clean and sanitize the face. So we want to clean where we're putting the electrodes. We're placing an electrode here and here to capture horizontal movement of the eye. Then we place an electrode here and here to capture vertical movement of the eye, and then that 5th electrode is over here on the forehead, which grounds the system together. So if we use our alcohol swab and clean the face where the tape is going to go. Now remember, our tape is about 2.5 inches in length. So as we clean the skin, we want to make sure that we're really generous where we clean. So clean all the way down the cheek, along the temple, and then a nice big circles across the forehead, and really get everything off, because we have a lot of oil that's produced. Sometimes we got lotion, makeup, dirt. Clean that face really well and the forehead nice and clean. And then is what we want to do now is clean across the dominant eye. And if you don't know which is the dominant eye, you're going to go ahead and choose the eye that they receive their vision out of, or the eye that gives you the most vertical movement. And that's the eye you're going to want to run with. And then you're going to take your alcohol swab and start right here in the corner of the nose. You want to get right into the corner of the nose, because that's a perfect little pocket for oil to rest. And so you want to get right into the corner of the nose and then sweep out across the cheek and really wash that cheek well. You want to be careful not to get too close to the eye, because it is sensitive and the alcohol does produce some fumes. So really give it a good cleaning, and then go ahead, and if it is bothersome to the student, our little quick reference card makes a great fan. So you can fan that, and as soon as that alcohol dries, then the fumes stop being so irritating. So go ahead and just fan it dry. And now once it's dry and it's clean, you're going to want to take it now and start with the application of the electrodes. So again, they're color coded, and you want to follow the card, and the placement and the color that you follow is right here on the card, starting with black, red, blue, white, and green. We're going to grab our electrodes. We're going to want to untangle them to make sure that they're free. And before we bring the student into the room, we're going to want to pull our tape. And once again, we're going to need 5 pieces of tape for each of the electrodes. So you're going to want to pull your tape, and you want that to be about 2 to 2.5 inches in length. So as we pull our tape, we get that all set up and ready to go. You want to get your supplies ready to go, the paste, the alcohol swabs, your tape, and everything set. So again, we want to follow our quick reference card. Our card here shows the order and sequence in which we like to follow. We like to go black, red, blue, white, and green. We've got a verbal description here along with some pictures to follow as your reference. So you'll use that. You're going to start off with your black electrode first. I like to grab the electrode. It's all color coded here. There's a flat side, which is a gray graphite side, and then there's a rounded black side. You want to use the graphite flat side as the electrode itself. So you want to grab that with your thumb and your bird finger. Okay, you grab it with your thumb and your bird, and you use your index finger to go ahead and support the back of the electrode. The electrode is a little bit flexible, and so we want to be able to support that so it's nice and firm, because when we use our paste and we go into our electrode paste, it's rather thick. It's a little bit thicker than Vaseline. And so as this runs across the paste, it does have a tendency to flex, and you could possibly short the electrode here. So if you grab that electrode with your thumb and your bird finger, holding that tight and securing the black back side of that electrode with your index finger, and you're going to simply want to scrape that across the top of your paste, and you're going to pull out about the size of a small chocolate chip. So every time you go ahead and scoop this electrode paste, if you think chocolate chip, you're going to get just the right amount of paste that you need. If you put too much paste, it's just going to be messy to clean up. If you put too little paste, you're not going to have enough conductivity to allow that electric signal, the EOG, to transfer from the eye into the electrode. So about a small chocolate chip size piece of paste on the electrode works just fine. You grab your tape. Then we want to take and place our tape on the electrode so that it's centered. The electrode itself is centered in the tape this way and both this way. So if you've got a centered electrode on the tape, you're going to place it right here on the face. You want to come straight back from the eye, centering it right here. Now the black electrode is always going to go on the user's right hand side. So I always like to stand behind the user, and then my right is their right, so you don't get confused. And I just have a tendency to get confused if I stand in front of them, because then my right is their left and their left is my right, and I get confused. So if you stand behind, and that first electrode is your black electrode, which is going to go on the user's right hand side. So as we take and we come straight back from the eye, the tender part of the temple, which is right here, that's where you want that electrode to be centered. So once again, if you hold the electrode with your thumb and your bird finger, you hold those two using your index finger to go ahead and place that on the skin. So you bring it straight back from the eye, you're going to set it right there on the temple, give it a good press, right? Holding that secure to the skin, then the electrode cable can run right behind the ear. Then you're going to use the palm of your hand to come in and just gently palm that so it seals all the way around the electrode. That electrode is running straight back from the eye, back behind the ear. Now the important thing that I want you to remember about the tape, the first two pieces of tape that you're going to place are always going to run vertical. These two pieces of tape can always run vertical. Now the electrode itself can run horizontal as we have it here, so it can run back this way. The electrode can run vertical with the tape running down here, or it can run vertical running up and over the head this way. The tape is always vertical, but the electrode can run horizontal or vertical. And on this next electrode, I'll show you and give you an example of running it the other way. So you're going to check your reference card, and once again, the next electrode that you're going to place is the red electrode. And this one goes on the user's left-hand side. So you'll grab your electrode, following the color. Here's our red electrode. You follow the same process of grabbing the electrode with your thumb, your bird finger. You're going to scoop across, pull off enough paste, thinking chocolate chip. You've got the right amount of paste. You're going to grab your other piece of tape, and this one we're going to run it vertically along with the tape. So the reason we might want to run it vertical, if we've got a horizontal electrode and your student has a headrest on their wheelchair, they have a tendency to always move their head to the right and to the right. We sometimes have this electrode can get caught on that headrest, and it starts to lift and pull this way. And as what that's going to do is it's going to raise and lift the electrode off of the skin, and we're going to have a break in that signal, or that EOG. So we can run it so that the electrode runs vertically along with the tape. You still center it in the same spot so that it's centered on the temple, straight out from the eye, just past that eye socket bone. On the temple, you'll set that electrode, and then you're going to palm it gently with your hand, and that's going to seal all the way around, so you've got a good seal. But now the electrode is running this way. So if they do have a tendency to push their head along their headrest, it's not going to pull and lift this electrode off of the skin. It's going to stay securely tight. So now we've got both of our electrodes placed. The cables are running back out of the way from the student so they're not in their way. And now we're going to run to our third electrode. Following that color is going to be the blue electrode. So you look down, you grab your blue electrode, and how I remember the blue electrode is it always runs, the blue electrode is always placed above the eye because the sky is what?
Blue.
The sky is blue, the electrode is blue, it goes above the eye. So we're going to want to place that right above their eye, centered over the pupil, making sure that the tape is above the eyebrow. We don't want the tape resting on the brow, but we want it centered above on the forehead. So we do the exact same thing by grabbing the electrode, we scoop it across, and what do we think?
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip. We get about the right amount of chocolate chip paste on there. We grab our tape. Now, as these two pieces of tape always ran vertical, the remaining 3 pieces of tape are going to run horizontal. So horizontal here, and then horizontally here. So we grab our electrode, we place it on our tape so that it's centered here and enough across the top to create a nice tight seal on the skin. And now we're going to bring it up. We're going to place it over their dominant eye so that it's centered above the brow and with the pupil. And it's okay to go ahead and press that electrode. And then we're going to want to go ahead and palm it so that we seal it nice and tight to the skin. And once again, we've got a good seal all the way around. And now that electrode is centered over the eye. This electrode can take and run right back here. Get it over your ear. Right back over the ear. So now it's back and out of the way, and everything now is running nicely back behind. Our next electrode is our white electrode. And the white electrode goes below the eye. Now how I remember this is below the eye, the snow falls where?
Down.
Down. So the snow falls down, so it's below the eye. We grab our electrode exactly the same way. We're going to scoop that paste. It's going to be on the flat side. We're going to scoop the paste, and what are we going to think? Chocolate chip. We've got our chocolate chip. We grab our piece of tape. We're going to center it here, again across the top. Now this one's a little bit tricky. If you take and everyone has this tender spot underneath their eye. And if you put the tape or you press on that tender spot right here underneath your eye, it impacts your vision and what you're looking at. So we want to make sure that the electrode is below that tender spot of the eye. And most oftentimes for all of our kids, if we run it straight across from the nostril, that gives you a good placement. So it's far enough down to be out of the way to still get a strong enough signal. So you're going to want to take and bring this and center it straight out from the nostril. Set the electrode, and this one's kind of hard to palm because you'd be palming their whole entire face. So this one I like to take and press it and then walk it back. So press it and then kind of walk it back. But notice how you center it below the eye. Now this electrode can run back, same way, and rest behind the ear. So now everything is back and out of the way. This one runs back and you're good to go. Okay? Now, we take our last and 5th and final electrode, which is our green electrode, and this one acts as a ground that grounds this whole system together, and it's going to go on the opposing side. So now, we do exactly the same thing. We scoop, we pull the paste, getting enough to be about the size of a small chocolate chip. We grab our 5th and final piece of tape, centering it here, and enough across the top. We bring it over and we're going to place it just on the opposing eye, set it, and then we're going to palm it to secure it. And now all the electrodes are on, everything is back and out of the way. We have hair clips, so you want to take and pull everything back, and then you're going to take your hair clip and just simply clip it around the cables and then place it. So as what it does is it relieves the tension from these electrodes, and you have it nice and secure. Everything is back out of the way and it's just clipped nicely to the hair. And if they don't have hair, you can clip it right here to the collar of their shirt, anything just to kind of bring it back so it's out, it's nice and it's tidy, and it's just relieving some of the tension and weight that might be on those electrodes. All right, so now once we've got everything set, you are ready to go. This process typically will take less than 2 minutes. I know at first you might struggle, might take longer, but as you become proficient at it, it will take you really less than 2 minutes to go ahead and have these electrodes put in place. And now you're ready to go. All right, so now when you're finished with your session, how we like you to take those electrodes off, we want you to go through, and this is where you'll use your second alcohol swab. Because remember, it's a 3 alcohol swab job, so this is number 2. You want to grab your alcohol swab, and as what we like to do is we like to take and just go ahead and saturate those electrodes with the alcohol. And as what that will start to do is soften the glue so that when you pull them off, it's not quite as painful. So you're going to remove the hair clip, place the hair clip back on the system, saturate the tape, then you're going to want to take, and what we don't want you to do is to pull on the electrode and pull the tape this way, because what will eventually happen is you'll start to create a weakness in the cable itself, and it could have the possibility of shorting out. So you want to be able to grab your tape and the electrode together using the alcohol swab to hold the skin, and then just slide that back and everything comes off nice and easy. And then if there's any paste left on the face, this is the opportunity to go ahead and wipe that paste off, and then you just follow through that process, softening up the electrode, the tape on and the electrode. You're going to want to grab the electrode and the tape, holding the skin and gently lifting the electrode and tape, and everything comes off in one nice neat little package. So you're going to go through, pull all of these off, and then once they're all off, you're going to now take and clean the electrodes. So as what we want you to do is pull the tape off the electrode. We want you to fold the tape in half using the non-sticky side of the tape, and there's texture on the tape. So this is a great option to go ahead and then just wipe the bulk of the paste off of the electrode onto the non-sticky side of the tape. That cleans most everything off of the electrode itself. Discard the tape with the paste on it, and then when you're all done, you're going to use your last alcohol swab to go ahead and sanitize everything. So clean the color part of the tubing, and then go ahead and wipe the electrode off, making sure you get all of the paste and then any bacteria that may be on there from their skin. So now everything is sanitized, clean, and ready to go. And you're going to follow that same process through all 5 electrodes. Okay, so now when you're done and you've removed all of the electrodes from the face, we want you to store it. And how we like you to properly store it is to take and coil the electrodes up loosely. What the tendency is sometimes people want to start wrapping it this way and pulling it around, and what that's going to do is just apply pressure to the electrodes here, the cables, and that's what we don't want to have happen. So as you coil them up, you loosely coil them, and then you're going to want to take and place them on top of the console itself so that they're held nice and tight on the top of the console. Then you take your USB cable, and again, is what people like to do is take and wrap it this way, which again is putting too much pressure on the back of these cables. So you want to go ahead and secure it and kind of create a V across the top of the electrode. So go from outside to outside, and as what that's doing is creating a V with the USB cable across the top of the console, which holds those securely in place, and then this now just goes right inside your bag with no pressure being placed on the back of the electrodes, and you're set and you're good to go for the next time. So the website is a great resource for you. You can use that to find information about the software, the hardware, and the placement of the electrodes. Thank you very much.